iodine began to be used in medicine, radioactive iodine would only work if people were iodine deficient. It doesn't work if the iodine receptors are saturated with iodine because the radioactive iodine just passes through and doesn't bind anything. The powers that be mandated that the flour products have iodine removed from them, which used to be in all the flour products, and put bromine in them, which is a toxic halogen, and it's a competitive inhibitor of iodine. And that's what really started driving the iodine epidemic we're seeing, 40 years later now. And that's why I think we're seeing so many more thyroid problems and breast problems and so on and so on. Iodine is an essential element for our body. If we don't have enough iodine, we won't live. It's concentrated in the glandular tissue of the body. And iodine's main job in the glandular tissue is to maintain the normal architecture of the glands. When I say the glandular tissue, I refer to the breast, the ovaries, uterus, thyroid, prostate. What are we having problems with in our country right now? Glandular problems. We have 1 in 7 women with breast cancer, 1 in 3 men with prostate cancer. We have epidemic increases of ovarian and uterine problems. And certainly we have epidemic increases of all the thyroid problems, autoimmune thyroid illnesses such as Hashimoto's and Graves' disease, hypothyroidism, and thyroid cancer. What's the relationship between all these diseases that are increasing at epidemic rates? I say the relationship is iodine deficiency. Over the last 40 years, our iodine levels have fallen over 50%, according to the U.S. government's own studies. During that same time, we've seen rapid increases in all those illnesses I just mentioned. And I say that we're not going to get to the underlying cause of these problems with more mammograms and more PSA tests. We're going to get to the underlying cause when we start asking the right questions. Why are so many people suffering with thyroid, breast, and prostate and ovarian and uterine problems? And I say it's nutritional and hormonal imbalances, and one big piece of this puzzle for all this stuff is iodine deficiency. I've been looking at patients for 20 years and trying to help them achieve their optimal health. And I can assure you it's impossible to achieve your optimal health if you don't have a properly balanced hormonal system. And I can assure you it's impossible to have a properly balanced hormonal system if you don't have enough iodine. Iodine is concentrated in all the glands of the body, and that includes the thyroid and the adrenals and the ovaries and uterus. And I'm repeating myself with these, but it's important because so many people are suffering from these glandular problems. And most people don't know that if you don't have adequate amounts of iodine, you can't make any hormone in the body. That not only includes the thyroid, that includes the adrenal hormones. And a lot is written about low adrenal problems, and people need adrenal support, and the adrenal glands are your fight or flight glands, and you need proper adrenal hormones to feel good and to be able to exercise and to be able to just function daily. Well, I can tell you I see a lot of people with adrenal and thyroid problems, and they can't get their balance if they don't have enough iodine. Now, the government fortified salt with iodine in the 1920s after recognizing the goiter epidemic that was affecting the United States. And that little bit of iodine in iodized salt, it's about 75 micrograms per gram, was enough to prevent goiter in the vast majority of people that ate iodized salt. However, what's happened in the recent years is our exposure to toxic chemicals that pull iodine out of the body has increased rapidly. And 2 of these toxic halogens are fluoride and bromide. And we get bromide. I found that bromide toxicity occurring in every single one of 1,000 patients that I test for the bromide levels. And in fact, I stopped checking people for bromide toxicity just because I thought I was wasting their money because everyone's high in bromide. We are exposed to bromide from multiple sources, from simple things like if you're in a pool or a hot tub that has brominated, where they're using bromine to keep the water clean, there's one exposure. But we're getting bromide in our food from bakery products because the government allows flour to be brominated instead of iodinated. So the breads and pastas and cereals made with regular flour have bromine in them. We also get bromine in drink, such as Mountain Dew and other soft drinks. And we get bromine in a lot of medical prescription items, such as inhalers for asthma and other prescription items where there's a bromine atom in the center of the drug. The next most common halogen that is causing problems with our iodine levels is fluoride. And we all know that our water supply is fluoridated, even though there are no good studies that show the fluoridation of our water supply decreases cavity rates, which is why they did it in the 1950s. What's not known by most people is that almost every single European country that used to fluoridate the water has stopped because they've realized that fluoride in the water is more dangerous than it is helpful. And they've also realized that there's no difference between cavity rate in fluoridated versus unfluoridated countries. We also get fluoride in juices and any canned food source where they're getting it from a public water supply and using that water as part of the canned juices. It's in baby food, and we have become an over-fluoridated country. And this double whammy of fluoride and bromide has really pushed the iodine levels down in our body and made us worse. And the consequences of this are this epidemic of breast cancer, fibrocystic breast disease, thyroid cancer, autoimmune thyroid illness, hypothyroidism, and prostate cancer that we're seeing. And I firmly believe that we're not going to get to the underlying cause of these problems by ordering more tests, such as mammograms or PSAs these diseases are certainly not occurring because we have a deficiency of surgery or chemotherapy or radiation out there. It's occurring because we have nutritional and hormonal imbalances. And one of the biggest nutritional imbalance is iodine deficiency. I've tested over 6,000 patients.
Okay, welcome back. I'm going to stop down right now with Dr. Brownstein's presentation and actually share with you, and I hope you received a lot of valuable information from that clip. I want to share with you right now those 5 warning signs that Dr. Brownstein has indicated for prostate cancer, the 5 early warning signs. The first, and you are listening to Partners in Health and Biz on the PIH network. This is www.pihradio.net, and I'm your host, Gail Dixon. So the topic, the 5 early warning signs of prostate cancer. Dr. Brownstein was just sharing the connection between iodine deficiency and cancer. Now, the first early warning sign that he indicates is if a man is taking a prescription drug to relieve the symptoms of a swollen prostate, and he says this may actually increase your risk of prostate cancer. And it says this is the FDA now requires warning labels on all prostate drugs that block the 5-alpha reductase enzyme. So that's the first warning sign, taking a prescription drug to relieve the symptoms of a swollen prostate. The second early warning sign that many men ignore is men who have too much estrogen relative to their testosterone are at a higher risk for prostate cancer. So when your doctor does a test and finds out that you have too much estrogen relative to your testosterone, then Dr. Brownstein says that is an early warning sign number 2. He said, remember when Arnold Schwarzenegger, the muscular movie star and former governor of California, called his political opponents girly men? His remark was intended to show them who was boss, but interestingly, there's some truth to his words. As you age, you produce less and less testosterone, but without a corresponding drop in your levels of the female hormone estrogen. In time, you have too little testosterone and too much estrogen. This causes several problems: weaker muscles, graying hair, reduced sex drive, and a chronically enlarged prostate. Early warning sign number 3, that you have a prostate problem. The third early warning sign of prostate cancer is simply your age. By age 50, the symptoms of an enlarged prostate are annoying. By 60 and 70, they can be acute and dangerous. An enlarged, swollen, or inflamed prostate puts you at risk for bladder infection, kidney damage, and prostate cancer. And Dr. Brownstein says, I want to make sure you understand what the prostate gland does in your body, and then you can see how those problems get started. So you can go to Dr. Brownstein's website and learn more about that. So that was the third warning sign, your age. You know, how old are you? Don't think you can just ignore. You should, at least by 40, you should be having regular prostate checkups, because the symptoms can start early or they can start at 50, but by 60 or 70, most men are having some type of symptoms. Okay, and it's not necessarily prostate cancer. Number 4, early warning sign number 4, you are deficient in iodine. What did Dr. Brownstein just talk about in the clip, the audio clip? The 4th warning sign of that many men ignore of prostate cancer, which is the fact that you are deficient in iodine. Iodine is an essential nutrient that protects against thyroid, as Dr. Brownstein you just heard him speak about, protects against thyroid, breast, ovarian, and prostate cancer. And early warning sign number 5. Here we go. Wow, wow, wow. You're overweight because of eating the standard American diet. Just 20 extra pounds puts you at an increased risk for prostate cancer. Many men that are over age 50 carry an extra 20 or more pounds, often just in their belly. That not only increases a higher risk for prostate cancer, but it's almost a sure predictor of future heart disease too. So that is early warning sign number 5. If you were to cut back 40 to 50% on bad foods and replace them with good foods, you'd be taking a giant step toward preventing obesity, digestive disorders, arthritis, diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. In fact, whatever improvement you can make in this area will improve your health and boost your energy. So that is something that most men ignore, but you need to cut back. Here's some of the things you can cut back on. Cut back on sugars, white carbohydrate foods such as bread, potatoes, rice, pasta, chips, cookies, cakes, and ice cream. Cut back on processed meats and dairy products. Cut back on fruit juices and fruit-flavored yogurts that are loaded with sugar. In place of corn, peanut, and soybean oil, use olive oil and coconut oil. Use real butter instead of margarine. Cut back on completely eliminate in bags, boxes, cartons, and cans. That's because they've all been refined, processed, and devitalized. Unfortunately, the vitamins and minerals and natural enzymes that your body needs for health and healing they have been processed out of packaged foods. So the 6 steps to prevent prostate cancer: eat a healthier diet, replacing bad foods with good foods. Number 2, avoid taking prescription drugs for enlarged prostate whenever possible. Number 3, maintain proper hormonal balance, including adequate testosterone. Number 4, ensure adequate iodine levels. And number 5, drink plenty of fresh water. Number 6, take prostate-supporting nutritional supplements. And so those are the ways you can prevent getting prostate cancer. And so you've heard the early warning signs of prostate cancer. And Dr. Brownstein, I believe, was very clear about the connection between all cancers and iodine. So you need to get your iodine levels checked and to make sure that you're living a healthy life. We don't believe in diets here at Partners in Health and Biz. We believe in living a healthy lifestyle, doing what you should do, avoiding those foods that you shouldn't eat, eating the foods you should, plenty of fruits and vegetables, drinking plenty of fresh water, exercise, and watching that waistline, avoiding alcohol and different things that will, avoiding drugs, of course. So all of these things have an effect on the body. Remember, our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, and we must protect our bodies and treat our bodies with love and care. So this has been a very, I believe, informational show. I hope you believe so too. The information that we've shared this morning will help men, and that you will take it and understand the importance of getting your prostate checked. You may not have cancer. There are all different things that could be going on. It could be symptoms or prostatitis, which is not cancer, things that can be treated. If you let it go too long, these symptoms will turn into cancer. So I want to thank you so much for joining me here on Partners in Health and Biz, and be sure to stay tuned